as you said, UNC is first place in the ACC. So if UNC fans are having a meltdown, you can only imagine what the other ACC teams must be feeling right now. But UNC is in first place. They're 11-3 in the ACC as of Wednesday morning when we're recording this. Duke and Virginia are right on their tail, and UNC gets the opportunity to play those teams over the next few weeks to close out the ACC regular season. Justin, as a player, how would you approach these last few weeks of the ACC season? Are you checking the standings to understand where UNC is in your goal of trying to reach that ACC regular season title? And what would be sort of your advice almost for this UNC team? What do you want to see out of these last 6 games?
You just want to be playing your best basketball going down the stretch. And obviously, losing two out of the last three of the last five isn't necessarily what you want to see. I think there's lessons that they can take from each of those losses. But you just want to be, people say getting hot at the right time. You look at the team 2 years ago with Caleb and RJ, and I mean, they were, for a lack of better words, they were a bad team the majority of the year. And all of a sudden, come tournament time, they were the hottest team and they were playing the best out of basically every team out there and made it all the way to the Final Four, made to the championship, and had a chance to win it. And so when you look at a team that's actually better in this team overall, you just want them to get to that point where they're consistent and playing the best that they've played all year going into the tournament. And I think that's one thing that I have to give credit to Coach Williams when I was there. He always seemed to find a way to get us to play the best basketball that we played going down the stretch. I don't know how he did it. I don't know necessarily what the methods were to it, but we always seem to be playing our best basketball going, kind of towards the tournament play and things like that. And with this team, they've proven all year that they can play defense. Obviously last game was a little bit of an asterisk. I think that, like, we talk about the aggressiveness and the physicality and the pressure and things like that weren't necessarily the same, but they've proven that they can be a really good defensive team. The majority of the season we've talked about offensively. Can Cormac hit shots? Can Harrison hit enough shots? Can Mondo be aggressive down low? Can RJ be as consistent as he's been, the whole entire season? So if they can connect both of those two things, if they can get everybody playing the right way offensively, everybody being confident, stepping into shots confidently, and then defensively being able to, cause issues like they have all season long, I think that's exactly what you ask for. You ask for them to kind of figure things out as the season goes on. We talked about at the beginning of the season, there's going to be a lot of things for this team to figure out because of how new it is, how many new players, how many guys are, transferring in, and Elliott coming in early and things like that. If they can figure that out going into tournament play, I think they're in a great spot. Like you said, they're number one right now, so they hold the keys to the rest of their future. If they win out, there's nobody else that can take over the number one spot. So for me, I wouldn't necessarily even focus on standings. I wouldn't focus on, I mean, they're going to see it and they're going to see, hey, we're number one, but I want to say Virginia might be right below them. And there's some teams that are trying to, fight their way up. But if we take care of what we need to take care of and control what we can control, then we can control the future and the rest of our season. And, that's kind of the mindset that I would take, not necessarily watching the standings each and every day and looking and seeing who's winning and losing and things like that. For instance, I think it was my sophomore year, come to find out, we knew before the game because somebody had lost. I can't remember who it was that had lost. But the coaching staff knew before the game that a certain team had lost, so we had already won the ACC regular season. But it was the last game against Duke, and nobody knew as far as players because we wanted to go out there. I guess the coaching staff wanted us to go out there and play as if we needed this win to win the ACC. And I think that's the mindset that you have to have as far as, okay, let's go control what we can control. And if we can do that, then we are in good standings. And, I think that's kind of what this team is. You look, next game, Virginia Tech play against a former player in Bo Nickel. Um, then you go against Virginia, which that's always a tough one with that pack line defense. Then you go against Miami, which was a tough one as well. And then you finish up with, two rivals, NC State and Duke, and then obviously Notre Dame, squeeze in between those two. But I mean, what better games to kind of get back on track with, right? You've got Duke, NC State, you've got a Virginia game that's going to be tough. Miami obviously played them tough. So, what better games to figure it all out, than those tougher games. And I would rather them be playing games like this down the stretch than playing against like a Boston College or teams that are at the very very bottom of the ACC, because now we come off a loss. Now we got to figure out how to bounce back against a good team, which is exactly what you have to do in the tournament play. It's not going to be off of a loss, but you got to figure out, okay, we might not have played the way that we wanted to in this game. Now we got to bounce back against another good team who just came off of a win in the round of 32 or whatever it is. So I'm interested to see how they figure it out. I'm pretty positive that they will figure it out, but for them, it's controlling their own destiny. And if they control what they control, I think they'll be in a good spot.